Hi everybody. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about Bunsen burners. You use them fairly often in the lab, especially the HM simulations. However, they've got it just such that you push a button and it comes on. Obviously in real world applications it doesn't work like that, but it is a fairly simple apparatus. What we basically have is a gas intake here, a stand, a valve for the gas that comes in, and that's called a needle valve. So it's a very fine orifice that you could barely see right there. Very tiny hole, about 1 millimeter in diameter or less, that the gas comes out, and this valve right here allows me to adjust gas flow through that small hole. But the key to this thing is the barrel. So what we've got is gas input, stand, needle valve, orifice, and a barrel. The barrel screws onto it, and as you can see, there are holes in the side. So what it does is the gas is going to come out and air will go into here through these holes, up through this tube, this straight tube, and mix. And then we would ignite the mixture of gas, which in most labs is methane, but you could have methane, propane, butane, and I'll demonstrate some of those in a bit. But basically what we've got is about a 3-to-1 mixture of air coming in here, air being about 21% oxygen. So it's an oxygen mixing port is what that is. So the barrel has air ports. You don't really need to adjust the flame with this needle valve. You kind of set that and forget it. That's kind of how it goes. Once again, we've got the barrel, air holes, orifice, gas in, needle valve. Once I've got it lit, for example here, by adding more air, I can make the flame stronger. And you can probably hear it, but it's difficult to see because it's blue. If I was to give it less air, and I could just do that by plugging the holes in the side, I get a weaker, more fuel-rich, sootier flame that's a little more orange. It's difficult to see, but basically we adjust the flame by throttling the air input right here. Okay? We don't really use the needle valve down in the bottom very much. We just kind of get that set and we're good to go. So I've got the gas coming in here through the needle valve, out the orifice, mixing about a 3-to-1 mix of air to fuel. And the fuel, again, methane, propane, a propane mix, maybe propane, butane, or a blend. But in the labs it's going to usually be methane, CH4, straight up the smallest natural gas, methane. Here we got a couple other examples. This is a butane model. We use this in the lab because we don't have to worry about hoses. You get a little cylinder of butane, and the orifice is all set up inside there, and this is empty, but it is butane. I would just open the needle valve and light it, and this is a striker. So I'd open it up and strike. The sparks would ignite the flame, in this case butane. Now in this model, it's actually got a fixed air input. They've already got the thing machined and designed so that we don't have to mess around with the air input for butane. It's fairly elegant, not a lot of money. Here's a camping model. It's a camping stove, but pretty much the same as a Bunsen burner. And what we have here is a butane propane mix. Butane is 4 carbons, propane 3 carbons, hydrocarbons. So I'm going to take it apart and show you how it is basically the same as a Bunsen burner. Fuel comes in here, bottom, goes through a needle valve, and see the extremely small less than 1 millimeter hole size needle valve. And then we've got our barrel. Now in this barrel, it's kind of neat. You can see it's brass, and my air throttle apparatus is really just a collar with a set screw. So if you can see that, I can set that set screw and get my air ratio where I want it. So I'm going to put this thing back together and fire it up. Get about 50% coverage of the air holes. Close the needle valve. Screw it into my cylinder. I'm going to go ahead and open the valve. I can hear it. I can smell it a little bit. You can see the flame. The needle valve is really not doing a heck of a lot, right? But what is doing a lot is this air. If I get my air just right, see there, I've got not nearly enough air, so I'm not fully reacting the fuel with the oxygen in the air. As I open this up, get a lot better flame, a lot hotter flame, a bluer flame, and you can even tell by sound. And so I just kind of set that there, and we are good to go. And then I can just turn it off using the needle valve. So that, in a nutshell, is the Bunsen burner. Little side bit of trivia: Bunsen burner was named for a guy named Robert Bunsen, but he didn't invent it, so he just popularized it. Some guys back in the 1850s had natural gas when they first were inventing infrastructure in Britain, I think it was, and they had methane, and so some engineers and some other technical people actually invented this, but it was this guy Robert Bunsen who popularized it sometime later in his life. I think he died around 1900. But anyway, there's your Bunsen burner. We'll be seeing you in the next video.